Okay, I'm back with quiz 21 for exponential functions. How to mess up the singular and plural cases. I'll leave it to you to figure out what I'm talking about there. This is a quiz. There's only 5 questions here. It's based on all the other work you've done previously. It shouldn't be that hard to do. Let's get started with this particular assignment. Okay, so this is a graphing problem. The thing you have to look out for with this kind of problem is that there are 5 graphs on the picture that you see there. It's not coming up that clearly in video, but in person it should be. I'm going to make this into a white background so we can see it better. And now you can see the graphs. And one thing to look at is that 4 of them pass through the intercept of 4, and 1 of them passes through the intercept of 3. That's going to be useful for us because what it wants us to do is match the function with the color. And what you want to look at is any kind of clue about what's going on. Remember that exponential functions greater than 1 are increasing and less than 1 are decreasing, so that's going to play into this as well. You can see that, for example, function b and function, they're all over the place. And you can see that, for example, g goes up, so it's got a value of greater than 1. And the same thing applies to k. The difference between the two is that g is passing through 4 and k is passing through 3. And in fact, k is the only one of these functions that passes through 3. So that's the easiest one to identify. So if you look at that, you got to pick your option of what letter. It's black. Black is B, so we're going to pick B. That's what you have to do for the rest of them. And again, you have to figure out which ones are increasing and which ones are decreasing when you do this kind of problem, because it'll make it easier. Now, the next one to figure out if they are rising, which they clearly are, which ones are rising faster than the other ones. Those will have a value of 1, and then the number after decimal will be bigger than the other ones. In this case, the red function appears to be the highest growing function in the bunch. So you're going to look for the coefficient of 4, because they all have 4 at this point. But the biggest one is the one that's rising the most quickly. That would be 1.48. So that one's the red function. So you have to pick the letter E for this one. And you're going to go down and pick E, and then you're going to keep doing the same thing with the other functions. Now, looking at the other ones, you're going to see the next highest growing one is function G, the green one. So that's going to have the next number below 1.48. That would appear to be 1.13. So we're going to give that one to the green, which is the A function. Now, the only other ones that are left are the ones that are going down, decreasing. And the one that has the lowest number is decreasing the fastest, if that makes sense. You choose between yellow and blue. You can see that yellow is decreasing faster than the blue function. So yellow is definitely going to be the lowest number here. And that means that blue will be 4.088 as a result of that. So we're going to go to 4.088. And we're going to pick the blue, which is C. And that, by process of elimination, leaves us with the only other one that's left, which is orange. And that's our answer for this problem. So that's what we're going to submit. And when we do that, we're going to be done. We got that right. So we're going to move on to the next one. And what does this one show? This one shows, okay, question 2. Are we at question 2? That's it? Wow. Okay. Exponential function a b to the x power passes through point. Okay, this is that system of equations type of problem that I outlined earlier. So you're going to do the same thing here. And 236, remember that when you have a 0, that's easy, really easy, because that tells you that a is equal to the y. So a is equal to 9 in this case. And also that since a is equal to 9, you're going to be able to put that down right away. And if it's 36, 36 divided by 9 is 4. 4 is b squared, so b is equal to 2. Again, not too hard. The third one, will be the same kind of one that we had before, where you have to do a little bit of division of fractions. At worst, really not that bad of a deal, but you do have to be careful about the order in which you place these things, because if you do them incorrectly, of course, you're going to make a mistake. And we don't want to make a mistake at this point. We're going to hit 20 and divided by 5 over 4 equals 5 to 4, b to the power of negative 1. Okay, a's cancel out. 1 minus negative 1 is b squared. And 20, that should give us 16. and 16 is a perfect square, so we know that b is equal to 4. Okay, now the thing you'll notice is that before we got a first. This time we're getting b first, and we're using it to solve for the other one. I would choose to just use the 20 equals a times b. b is 4. That means that I would divide 4 from both sides. That gives me a. a is equal to 5, and this we're going to put into the function y is equal to 5 times 4 to the x power. That's it. So we're going to put that in. 5 times 4 to the power of x. That's all we have to do here. Make sure it's an exponent. Hit it. We got that right. And continuing on with the other ones. Okay, so we're going to move on to question number 4. Question number 4, let me get that stuff off the page. This is one of those interest rate problems coming back up again. Remember, it's future value equals present value multiplied by 1 plus r to the nt. These are easy if you use that that compound interest page that I shared with you, calculatorsoup.com. This becomes really easy, but this is the general formula. 20,000 is PV. R, the rate is 7%, which is either percent or 0.07. T is the same, 5 years. The only thing that's going to be different is N. Annual means once, semi means 2, monthly means 12, daily is 365. That's just a recap of the other homework, so it's not that big of a deal. And I used a calculator in this version, but I've since changed my approach to these problems. If you have a calculator, knock yourself out, but it's a lot easier to just go to calculatorsoup.com. I'll put the link in the comments and just go there instead. It's much easier because once you get your answers, it's just a question of copy and paste, and you don't really have to take so much time to do these problems, which are really, at the end of the day, they're just plug and chug, which are, I don't like those kind of problems really. And there's really no point in torturing ourselves about something that this was the best way to do it at one point. Yes, but it's better to use the web calculator, especially since you have access to the web while you're doing this, given the fact that Lumen is in fact an online structure. So you can do what I'm doing on the calculator if you have that calculator, but the answers are going to be accurate, but once again, it's much simpler and much more efficient to just use calculatorsoup.com. We're getting the same numbers, so I'm just going to put these in. It's wrong only in that I didn't give it the rest of the answers. The answer itself is correct because you can see it surrounded by that green halo. I just have to go back and put these other numbers in. So let me take care of that. And monthly will be the next one down below. So I'm going to put that in. Again, type these in carefully, make sure my values and don't forget to put cents in there, and don't forget cents is only 2 decimal places. I see people use 3, but that really doesn't make sense in the real world, and that indicates that people aren't thinking about the context of the problem. Once you're done, you're easy. We're done with this one, and we're up to the last one, I believe, question 5. Yeah, question 5, that's the last one. Okay, find a final amount of money in an account. This is the same kind of thing. So $3,000 is the present value, and the interest rate is 2.5%, but that's 0.025. So be careful with those if you do this. And if you use a calculator soup, it's going to just ask you to do 2.5. And there's 4 in this case because it's quarterly, and T is 9. Okay, so putting all of that together, you would get this. It used to be a lot harder to do these problems because you would have to do them with a calculator in a classroom, and it would just take a lot longer to do that. But if you just follow everything else, you're going to get the same answer. So really, I did use a calculator here, but I'm planning to revise this video at some point in the future to reflect my updated approach. But for a short term, you need to have something to refer to, and for the sake of speed and expediency, I would just as soon just post this video again. I will change it at some point in the future, but by that point it will not be any concern of yours, so don't worry about it too much. Just plug this whole thing in, Make sure you have everything in parentheses that you need. Make sure your decimal places are correct. Make sure your products are correct for the exponent. It's 4 times 9 because it's happening 4 times a year, 9 years in a row. And I'm not sure why it gave me that, but I must have put something in wrong. Let's see. No, let's see. It gives me an error, but I can't. Let's see. Yeah, well, okay. Well, let's try it again. And it looks like that's where the issue is. So I'm going to back it out and put it back in again. And hit. I'll try again. Hope for the best. Let's see where I go with this one. Okay. And is it, oh yeah, there it is. Okay, I see a problem. I'm going to change that too. And that should work now. Let's see. It did. So I'm going to take that. Remember, I would have to round off to nearest 2 decimal places, but if you use calculator soup, it's already giving the correct numbers, so you just put them in, copy and paste like we did in class. And that's question number 5. And we're done with this whole exercise. That's all there is to it. I hope all of this is making sense to you. Now, I'm going to be posting the other units as I prepare them. And luckily I have these trig units, so you should see those shortly. I'll chat you around.